Your dog cried today when you left. Not metaphorically, not dramatically. They stood at the door after it closed and made a sound that, if you could hear it, would stop you in the middle of whatever you were doing and bring you straight back home. You can't hear it, but it's happening. And once you understand what's actually behind that sound, you will never leave the same way again. Welcome to DogLingo. Subscribe now, because what you're about to learn doesn't just change how you see your dog's crying. It changes how you see your dog entirely. Today, we're going through the real reasons your dog cries when you leave. Not the simplified version. The actual neuroscience, the evolutionary biology, the emotional truth that most owners spend years never knowing. Stay until the end. The last reason is the one that breaks people, and it should. 1. They don't know you're coming back, ever. This is the part that most owners intellectually understand, but never fully feel. You know you're going to work. You know you'll be home by 6. You know this departure is temporary. Your dog knows none of that. Dogs have no concept of future time, no internal calendar, no ability to reason that this absence will end, because every other absence has ended. When that door closes, their nervous system doesn't register a temporary separation. It registers loss. Complete, unexplained, with no timeline attached. The cry you hear is not manipulation. It is not a habit. It is the sound of an animal who cannot distinguish between you leaving for 8 hours and you leaving forever. Every single time. Think about what that means. Every morning when you leave for work, your dog experiences something closer to grief than impatience. The waiting isn't comfortable anticipation. It's vigil. And the moment you walk back through that door, the explosion of relief you see, that's not just excitement. That is an animal whose nervous system just received confirmation that the worst thing didn't happen again. 2. You are their entire world, and they mean that literally. Humans have jobs, friendships, routines, purposes that exist entirely outside their relationship with their dog. Your dog has none of that. Their social world, their sense of safety, their reason to eat and move and engage, it all runs through you. Researchers studying canine attachment have found that dogs form what is classified as a secure base attachment to their primary person. The same attachment framework used to describe the bond between an infant and their caregiver. Remove the secure base, and the system doesn't just feel incomplete, it destabilizes entirely. The crying is one symptom. The pacing is another. The destruction, the refusal to eat, the inability to settle, all of it traces back to the same source. You didn't just leave the house. From their perspective, the center of everything left. And they are alone in a world that only makes sense when you're in it. 3. The howl is a search signal, not sadness, an emergency broadcast. When your dog howls after you leave, most owners hear heartbreak. What's actually happening is older than heartbreak. In wild canid social structures, the howl evolved as a long-range locator signal, miles of range, built to carry over terrain and weather and distance. Designed to do one thing: trigger a response from a separated pack member and pull them back. Your dog is not performing grief. They are executing a survival protocol that is thousands of years old. They are broadcasting their location. They are waiting for your voice to come back through the walls. When no answer comes, the howl continues, or intensifies, or shifts into something lower, more interior, that your neighbors hear as whining and your dog experiences as unanswered emergency. Audio monitoring studies have shown that most separation vocalization peaks in the first 15 to 20 minutes after departure. Not because dogs calm down, because the biological program has a threshold. The signal fires. No response arrives. The nervous system begins to adapt to an absence it cannot explain. 4. Their body keeps a score, The crying is the part you hear. Here is the part you don't. Within minutes of your departure, your dog's cortisol levels begin to rise. Heart rate elevates. Respiration changes. The same physiological cascade that happens in a human during acute stress happens in your dog, triggered by your absence alone. Research using cortisol measurement in dogs has documented that separation from a primary attachment figure produces a genuine stress response at the hormonal level. Not behavioral, not performance, biochemical. Your dog's body physically changes when you leave. For dogs with significant separation anxiety, this stress state can persist for the entire duration of the absence. Hours of elevated cortisol. Hours of a nervous system that cannot find its way back to regulation without the one thing that regulates it: you. The crying is just the audible edge of something happening much deeper, in chemistry, in the body, in a system that was never designed to function for long without its anchor. 5. They remember the moment you left, not abstractly, specifically. Dogs have what behavioral researchers call episodic-like memory, the ability to encode specific events with emotional context and retrieve them later. The particular sequence of things you do before you leave, your keys, your coat, the specific sound of the door, the quality of your goodbye, all of it gets stored together as a single emotional unit. And the next time that sequence begins, before the door has even closed, the stress response starts. Watch your dog the next time you reach for your keys. The ears shift, the body stills, the eyes track you differently. That's not anticipation. That's the beginning of grief, triggered by an object because their memory tied that object to the moment everything went quiet. This is also why calm departures matter so much. You are not just leaving your dog. You are recording a memory they will replay every time you leave for the rest of their life. What you do in those final moments becomes the emotional soundtrack of every separation to come. 6. Some dogs cry because they learned it worked once. Dogs are extraordinarily good at reading cause and effect within their emotional environment. If there was a moment, even once, when the crying brought you back through the door, when you heard it from the driveway and came back inside to check, when the sound of their distress was enough to pull you back, your dog's nervous system encoded that. The cry produced the outcome. Try again next time. This doesn't make your dog manipulative. It makes them brilliant at using the only tool they have in a situation that terrifies them. The problem is that returning to the sound of crying reinforces a pattern that will escalate, not resolve. Every return triggered by the cry teaches them that the cry is the mechanism, that more crying produces more returns. Breaking this pattern requires something that feels genuinely cruel in the moment, leaving without returning to the cry, waiting for a moment of quiet, even briefly, before coming back. Not because their distress doesn't matter, because the lesson they need is that quiet is what brings you home, not the sound, the settling. 7. They cry because they love you in a way that has no off switch. This is the last one, and it's the one that undoes people. There is a school of thought in behavioral science that tries to quantify canine attachment, to measure and categorize it, to explain it in frameworks that feel manageable. But here is what those frameworks keep circling back to. Dogs don't love moderately. They don't distribute their attachment across multiple relationships to reduce risk the way humans do. When a dog chooses you, they choose you completely, without reservation, without the self-protective instinct to hold something back. The crying when you leave is not dysfunction. It is not a training failure. It is the direct expression of a bond that has no volume control. They cannot love you a little less when you're gone to make the absence easier. They cannot redirect that attachment to something else until you return. They feel the full weight of it, every time, and they wait. With everything they have, they wait. If this changed something in you today, good. It should. Share this with someone whose dog cries when they leave and doesn't know why. Subscribe to DogLingo and drop your dog's name in the comments. Tell us how they greet you when you come home. We read every single one.